In the middle of a November night in Quebec City, 50 years ago, 11 young Inuit signed an agreement that broke with centuries of colonial rule in our homeland. Over these 50 years, we have moved from a traditional life on the land to a life based in communities, surrounded by modern amenities and technology. Today, in 2025, we are 14,000 Nunavik working to build a nation to prosper in a modern world on our own terms, an Inuit nation in the north. In March 1970, two government officials traveled north to Arctic Quebec. 58 years after taking over our land, the Quebec government has finally decided to take over from Ottawa responsibility for our people. Inuit were never told. Instead, the officials are pretending they come to consult Inuit. At their first stop, Kujarapik, Inuit are not impressed.
Halunat ang rokasarasoliritsuti tikisimarut. Unutara apiksuti. Kinitara aulatsige happa nunami. Allait inuilu aulatsige happa nunamini. Nunami aulatsiulirutta tukitahattarunapugut hanuiluromanitini nunavut pillugu.
We will govern in our land. In every community, that was the vision of our elders. But months after Quebec took charge, something changed the path of our history. The James Bay Hydroelectric Project triggered a confrontation between an arrogant colonial government and indigenous people, Cree and Inuit. A new generation of Inuit stepped up. We joined our Cree neighbors and went to court. The judge ruled that we had rights to the land and ordered the construction to stop. It was huge. But 3 days later, a higher court threw out the injunction, setting up negotiations between us and Quebec. Right away, the government threw all its vast legal power at our young team.
Makua amisui sakka hatlok simmata suna hatangilsi pi uditsa hatangilsi nuna hatangilsi.
Quebec demanded that we cede and surrender almost all of our land to the government, or negotiations would stop. It was blackmail. Puvilnituk and Ivuyivik refused and left the negotiations. Saluit was divided. The split over land rights put huge pressure on the negotiators. Even on the day of signing, our leaders and the government were locked in battle.
Takwa ang ikatigi reahak takayabot. Tala nuna takayanga sokkoitumi inilasangin limangane.
Negotiations have now been completed. We are an adaptable people, and now we must make the greatest change of our history for our children and our children's children. Thank you.
The JBNQA was finally signed in the middle of the night between November 11 and 12, 1975. But the final Inuit land selection was postponed for 2 years. If not resolved by then, the entire JBNQA would be voided. The loss of our land has remained a burning issue ever since. The agreement came with $92 million over 10 years for Inuit and a separate branch of public administration for everyone living in the north, Inuit and non-Inuit. Ottawa had left us the most neglected people of the north and was now happy to unload everything on Quebec. It took 5 full years to work out the transfer. Inuit were stuck in the middle, still neglected.
At the time, we had over 40 different funding agreements with the government of Quebec and different sectors with different ministries. They were all different. It was hell. It was hell to manage.
Kavamakut ohakay nakama ipiusut simangilwang ukiokta tumiunik amalo piusitinik ohausitinik tukisimangisutilu.
In the end, it took 26 years, a whole generation, before there was a breakthrough. It was triggered by an event next door, with the Crees. The 2002 Pays de Brave agreement opened Cree lands for more development and lots more money. It had been negotiated in secret. Within days, Yanni Atami and Anthony Itusat were in a meeting in Quebec City. The government offered $100 million over 10 years, no questions asked.
The
government apologized. Our leaders returned to the table. The 2002 Sanakutik Agreement has brought $2.3 billion to infrastructure and programs in the communities, including services we had been entitled to all along. But there was more.
Una pimariut nagparasimaya Sanakutimati liogutahaksuta Inuit ilaunialakluit pivarliagaswarnimut ammalu tukitare hatauunaniakluit.
For Sanakutik too, we're taking a step back towards the vision of our elders. Language and culture will be our priority. The new agreement will be signed by Quebec and Makifik only. When white people came to the Arctic, they did as they wished with our people and our resources, leaving us in subservience and poverty. As soon as the JBNQA was signed, our leaders began to search for opportunities that could improve our lives.
Ammalo makitagaya hangnebot ammalo inosittinik pivalliatitsigia hangnebot isumagidlogo.
Air Inuit tells the story. Before the agreement, ad hoc flights by unreliable southern companies kept the communities isolated, vulnerable. A few months after signing, we applied for a permit to start our own airline.
Teitsumani application haluksuta for air mo license halugay simayong alubanga charter license halugay simayong.
We prevailed over 3 southern rivals, and by 1978 we were airborne.
Ubaho inutsuta aulatsigunna min aulatsigunna miyugut hangattayulenermi latitsi laritsimammat.
12 years later, Makifik bought a bigger airline. First Air later merged with Canadian North, rescuing that company. This airline operation created more jobs and profits shared with Nunavik Inuit for 34 years. As Nunavik turns 50, Air Inuit is taking a giant leap upwards.
Una hangat tayo nutaon pabot nirtauti cargo plane.
3 new jets are being upgraded for more passengers and more cargo. a birthday present to Nunavik.
Ako ni pikutsi huloko. Nunavik Inuit. Ako ni alutan hangat tayo lang alam mayaw. Lasungo yung atay mga amisubit sunga. Inuit hangat tayo ngat inunut imay nga huyaka. Layaw ni tusak suta inuinak ka nga Nunavik Inuit pero mayangin no inikawat to ulumi.
Kuujjuaq Radio, good afternoon. Inuit 820 is with you 30 miles to the north of.
With its 1,200 employees, including nearly 300 Inuit from every community, Air Inuit binds us together, provides livelihood for families, and shares its profits with the communities, like the backbone of our nation. In the course of these 50 years, Makifik and the landholding corporations have created wealth from resources on land and in the sea, sometimes in partnership with non-Inuit companies. Angava Bay shrimp are exported around the world. We pushed into building homes, airstrips, safe harbors. We needed better and cheaper sea lift service, and so invested in a fleet of ships, cutting costs by 1/3. Our land is rich in minerals. Mining companies have staked tens of thousands of claims. One operation 50 years ago left scars on the land. When another company wanted to start up, it offered a Zamboni to the two closest communities. They asked Makifik to get involved.
Takon ngoyang niya mayo ni uka te khalak palias lok siamat pigun na lima men ilaw umatsutik taman na sumay kasu abatigi yabo amalo pinasuwat sa technic amalo timishutingit ni tutu tigilu pinasuwat sanik wichi yak niya pat usiyaw yo hagayak niya parlo sibuliw yo hoitsuni.
The Raglan Agreement was another breakthrough. Inuit participate in decision-making. Royalties, subcontracts, and hundreds of jobs at Nunavik's 2 mines make a large contribution to our economy. But there's a cost to social life and to the environment. Nunavik Inuit weigh one against the other. In these 50 years, we have grown the $92 million settlement to more than $700 million equity for Inuit beneficiaries from our companies and investments. We employ 3,500 people. But as we work to improve life in Nunavik, forces far beyond us compel us to adapt. It's springtime in Huakdak, and the sea ice looks good. But last January, it was another story.
Open sea, sikohakitoro. Tetsumanili, sila neatiutilunga, sila tsigi tuina hattasi manalo na hattasi mangima. Piusirilaktang ammalo, itchilagni saatsuni, salwanganik ulumili,
Climate change affects everything. Life on the land, life in the communities, food security.
Allai lang ni pinsa kasi makut kasani lang nunali upahataon na iloktabot. Upakaya lang ito sila nilutumon.
To respond, we innovate. For centuries, the Hullik was Inuit's source of energy. Then we moved into communities, got electricity generated by diesel, expensive and dirty. Today, Inukjuak's power comes from here. The river is harnessed to produce electricity, a joint project between the Landholding Corporation and a global company. Close to 4 million liters of diesel per year are no longer required in Inukjuak. In all, Nunavik communities burn 65 million liters of diesel per year. Dakoti Energy will help us break that habit. Water, wind, and sunlight can produce clean electricity. The company is 100% Inuit-owned, a partnership between Makifik and Ilagisak, the co-op federation. The business model here is Inuit economic self-determination. The first project will be a wind turbine in Huaktak, then Puvilnituk.
Silakyoak, Kawamaillu, Aula Ningit, Angomaraw Kasoga Hakningillu, Pichorellu, Hailangaruit, Apoknalak Toalomata, Angomatsiang Itogota.
Our changing lifestyle fuels new needs. Growing a skilled Nunavik workforce is a struggle. Government-recognized diplomas count more than acquired experience. We need more workers for services and development. We rely more and more on non-Inuit to carry out even the most basic tasks. The towering new Cayucivic Adult Education and Vocational Training Center in Kuujjuaq is intended to narrow that gap. It's a residence for 84 women and men ready to take the road to new skills.
Pinasukumayi amisoalong imata. Ilang yalla pinsuka harun na sungulang mata makko pingasunlo ni tayo pinasukay amiso inuilat sa mata. Ayuin na tunod. Ayuin na laritweet naminik pero maya minit niwirun na paktut makaisiutinik ututerilaro hayarianik skitunik hantanillo mahaypinillo ni sana nurmik.
We have transformed life in our homeland, but we're only getting started. We need everyone on board.
Ullumi pineerutahillagilagatta pineerstini generasuarami attigiingitumata pittutiuyuit ullumi attigitsagunneimau sivullerilauqtavutti inuuserilauqtangi.
But there's more.
Piusaqarfiuattakarumakkunut inuuguvit ukuninga peqqayangitutit hallunaanguvit ukuninga suanlimaani pititauttillut Inuit tamatsuminga uhaagute hallagilermata uvahulli sugami.
We are building a nation guided by the values of our elders. We now draw on 50 years of lessons, achievements, and obstacles to create a better life within a changing world, on our terms.
Ino piusinga ilokkosinga piulutualuma. Piuninga tailanga sunahangila ritualo suti yananakku watalakku ayutsa suti. Pirunna meratta ayuna tuarutta.
The JBNQA was negotiated in a rush, under terrible pressure. But if Inuit had expected better times when the deal was done, they were in for a rude awakening. 18 months after signing the agreement, an attack on our language. The new Parti Québécois government launched Bill 101. French would reign supreme across the province, including the north. Quebec had ignored us for 60 years. All our schooling had been Anglican or federal, English only.
Nunattiniippugut sivulivin tanunangani uqausaqarpugunammineq piusaqarsutalunammintinik qallunaarituuqunnatitaunivut amigangigiirtoq uiguitituortugasanu halleraartaugiallallerluta taimaigumangilagut taatsumunga piqurangutitaugassuasivallaaijumut.
Inuit mobilized. Protest erupted in every community. The Quebec government panicked, dispatching riot squads to Kuujjuaq and Kuujjuaqapik. The fight over Bill 101 revealed a serious problem. Protection of our language and culture had not been included in the JBNQA. Still, our resistance won the day. Inuktitut became the language of instruction in the first years of schooling. But as we've learned, it wasn't enough. The effort to protect our language was only beginning, inside and outside the classroom.
My parents would tell me that, going to school is good. I dream, let's see, 50 years from now or 60 years from now, I'd like to see real Inuit as a doctor.
"260 children filled the classrooms of Nunavik School in Lajoie. Sabina Snowball is in charge of grade 4 in Inuktitut and English.
We're going to do Inuktitut and then lunch.
Bigun na siya ninginik, how yimat siya sutilo iliniati Sabina mik how tama tatsuming atigo sigun na naksaw mata namin nila kaya luminin o hati minik o how siya panganilin niya ti chigaloakpat pivalya ti tao lang agya mini how yimagami.
Nunavik schools need more subpoenas. Despite our victory over Bill 101, we still struggle with Inuktitut instruction.
Pinayol tamakit tata nila nga ulumi 27 kingo matsingin na tugon ilniya na hitira utigiyak tilugo ilniya chin 27 nisule hinik tugon lumimun.
Back in 1978, neither the Quebec government nor Inuit could foresee what it would take to create an Inuit education system.
Malituin na hatta si matsuti upin na kanito kisimat siya si maningin namig. Tusaksaw hatta matakot sa usuin ami sunguvalya tuin na hugot. Tay ma utakti sigo manamig, ilinyati sigo mavuguli emailing ayumig.
Today, the Nunavik curriculum reflects community life and concerns.
Ilinyativo takuhutsugi no nalivun ni tay emailing ayumi like piro tungan au palo sunatuin atuin na mata ilinyati no ubalo ni no nalimmo how yihona tuin no nalivota ilwani kingo magiyavunni.
From the land to the latest technology. In Ivuyivik, teenagers are immersed in the digital age, and the school has followed. Bytes and bandwidth are their tools.
Takutit se rumatsata inun ilinatin niloni.
Amalakawin takutaw yakata inutito ha ko si wasi pala din na matamalo ilang ini makay kaya may na lumamata. Asiw din na ba din?
Hakito kaya yakalan ni takulo ka mahilo si tinglaw bunga.
But defending Inuit education is still hard. Quebec government language policies put barriers in our way. Unequal employment terms hurt recruitment of Inuit staff, so we dig deep to find the way forward.
Takwa uvikkay kinguliuliktumaan na makigetsenak sa palong mata sivunit sami piunik sami takun na naktutekwa akiyak ninga niriugiyak kaliuvikkay sivulitsearun na lagayangin ni inuttituqluting.
To prepare for that next step, in 2017, the school board opened the Nunavik Sivunitsevut program, NS, in Montreal. Part of the program is a bridge with academic subjects to prepare the students for college and university. There's another part of NS, Inuit history and culture, in a way that school back home could not provide.
NS milisa hatta ho ananat sialki vininiva and it's also I'm also healing from it.
NS allergiaga nekpat
Inuit titutunin ilitsilik tuarutta. Enes muulea lau kumayunga inuit titunikut ilitsi vallearumatsunga ingirusiliurumatsunga inuit titutunik.
Pigiangau tikitsuru tukisi valleale kami tamatuminga satuiga kaswangnimi imasanangwa tigulluni langayo langitunga kisiani rumaruni langayo kisiani satuini siyo satuiga siyo atuhattala tangata atatatsiangata atatatsialikhiutingata.
50 years ago, we were isolated and ignored, cut off from the outside world, with few roads to advanced skills and education. We fought Bill 101, established who we are and what we can do, preparing new generations of Nunavik to help build an Inuit nation in the north.
Piune pahutera alearine para anasme ino tsutakatirunna sisongorata ino hatiririame alearine para ammalo ino hatikane Inuit culture me reclaim hatiririame is the best thing for me.
Every 2 years, the Avata Cultural Institute convenes its elders to take stock of Nunavik's Inuit heritage. This is the last generation that was born on the land, living an independent life. As he opens the proceedings, their president issues a warning. Inuktitut is being eroded.
Time na kawamat siya tawud, tawtuk tawud. So luluak tay kanikut juang metu ni Tagoona yaktay. Kablo na angin na siya maing no tikita ulit tugud. Ublo tamat siya. Kablo na angin na kasay, suyo magkwa. Pinasugyak tok si mayun.
Our language is the glue of our society. It's part of what makes us a nation, and this generation of Inuit carry that power within them. They have a program. Protection of culture and language did not make it into the JBNQA, but Makifik has now given Avatak the funding to act.
With the Inuktitut language in
The new language bureau is introduced at a big conference in Ottawa.
With recognition to be applicable throughout all of the Inuit homeland, Inuit Nunavik.
The program is based on the 2012 Ilriyavut report, That Which We Treasure.
Manna avatakut pingudita utigilaktangan ni pangnay si mamata manna pangnay padliaravut temetto hanginyatta temetto harirtunik khimiqwattatugut nunavurmiunik.
The local cultural committees will be reactivated.
Annati taugaswarnianinga tungavikhalangarupaalummat nunalinni. Nunalinniimat asiuyauvalianinga ilinialitsigutauningalu annati taugaswarningalu nunalinniilangarupaalummat.
Inuktitut is the cornerstone of our culture, of who we are, our Inukness.
Inuuneq sivulivinerminik nakingian taunerminik ippigiahatsialuni uummamiulahatsialuni tungagiaharluni upigusuutiharluni makitatsialitsiniummat.
We like to point out that Inuktitut is better preserved in Nunavik than anywhere else in the Inuit homeland. T&I, Takamut Nipingat, is part of the explanation. Inuits scattered across distant communities have to be able to talk to each other. Inuktitut language radio was a sure bet. It was planned even before the JBNQA was signed.
Savanti imi pigelor semagama. Huviagina para hatta semajaka inu marid apersoriangit chulitiatunik ayugaitunik pillarealnik unikkaatigiangit aliage hatta semajaka ammalu suusut sasiarunnasutik upannik ammalu suusugit siasugit.
For nearly 50 years, TNI Radio has let Inuit share news and stories. It's also where we heard the voices of a new movement in music.
Intitol uhasungama uhasritsugo piruqsasunga ingietulioqattasemalungin titoktunik utu taawan ilniatotsunga ingingorutulioqattasemagama intitoktunik.
Inuunekput sukkuteqtaugasulaaorsimangmat kavamanut inuktitooqaussivut nunguteqtaugassuksuni piusivullu kisiani qaawililaorsimagatta imngernikkut inuunekput nuitet siammarigunarmat ammaluttao imngernikkut inuktitooqupta tamanna sarimaneq.
Here is very well known Charlie Adams.
Here's someone who never wrote a song in English. Every community had a band, or several. It was all in our language. The next generation came on board, and now we have Akpik Jam, the largest Inuktitut language music event anywhere, streamed around the world.
Igal taqqatuutiuyaaqatta inunnuun ingileratta issumagiyangiit ippineeriyangissuurlu utertissugitaikkununga inginguartialuvalorsimammata utertitauriaharnissaularilertu nunalinni Summer Festival ngoqattaloorsimayuit Akpik Jam issamainnaalu ikajorsirunnassu inunni piv ini hareaharatta katinguakainnahattarut vitsasiami.
Nagommek, thank you, Hans. You guys are amazing.
On the airwaves and on thousands of playlists, Inuktitut is heard more and more outside Nunavik.
Taakkoa silattopalleanerano tukisivallealerakki pillarealuugiangi ajuinnarutti hareaharnitinni tukisigialla simalerama iluqqusittini kinaunittini nutuinnaunittini tamanna uppigissuuqa nuitatigianga pinassuartalimaakka inutuinnaunirani tungavihainnasu.
In the city, we're a tiny minority. But when we raise our voices, tens of thousands of Hallunat turn out to join the party.
For the first time, when he was a young teenager.
Uqaussiqarama missunit pingassunni uqaussini atutsiatuinnarama ullutama issumaaluutirilluassuungi takkakisiani inuktitut ingirea tusaajulu inuktitut uqausimini inginguartui qauyimayakka alianernipauriangu.
Tuktuaqaaluunaalugut tutsimalarmarlaat ilavut tuquyuyaalaru mutatatsamni tukakka angayuqqimaagata piutituatsiaka teemaillawaarsamata ani tuqtuaquloorugut.
The legacy of colonialism has left deep wounds in our people. Loved ones never returned from the sanatorium. Relocations and betrayals. Children removed for Southern education, separated from their parents.
Kinguvari tigutan sukkalukattausimani angiyoalommimat. Kinguvangut sutik sukkalakattauni viningani sivullivin mitigumiartitausuungumata taannagassa saanga jauvalliassimalertu.
Trauma is buried deep in our people. Digging it out takes time. In Huaktak, Eva Deer found a way, starting with herself. Hundreds have passed through Akidovik's different programs. It showed that there's a way, an Inuit way of healing. When we signed the JBNQA, Quebec laws entered our daily lives, laws designed for white urban society. It has taken years of work by Inuit to create organizations that work for us, that use the skills and values of our ancestors. In Puvilnituk, Sakayuk is using Inuit traditions to help people heal.
Angutillo aknaillo halluna pisingane atukaya kasaksuti tamang utitawame utitina hatta simmata tigoramo tamanga utiktisigallaka kasawagami tikkoninga tigorottatuni tigenga halok simana
isumahattasunga mamissa vimihattagaloksunga kisiani sumuinna sumu utiktapunga tigoramaimut mas mitsunga titensanami iqatuqtawitsaniivanga utaqqissunga uhaloqsimavunga huhuaqsunga kina isuaqsiviup uhaarutingani horimawa.
At the edge of a precipice built on solid rock, the Isuak Civic Regional Recovery Center has found its new home. The story began across the river at Old Fort Chimo 30 years ago.
Imi alumuanga yan tumo uhumaidlusuti ikayokta umagalawaksuti taimaitumi pitahak simangyanta kutua kamamapit kungitigo pinasawakasawa silawak simabugo taimaitumi nuitsigasawaestuta.
It was a local all-Inuit start. Later, professional and financial support from outside added to the effort, and along the way, something changed.
Asitino sanaya mayui utoga hatatabu hanulimatsia sukkaluaktuya hatanginata.
The treatment went from rehab to recovery.
Te meituko tu viniotsone puiro kasoatu ya suti sungum mata Inuit kinatu nahalunangu kalorone inu kalorone ho sana tuko ne vine mene himeitu nago masu sungum mata.
Quebec's youth protection regime has caused great damage in Nunavik. It ignored Inuit society and traditions. Children were removed, Nunavik robbed of its future.
Aksataw mari amisulo matilagi. Pitsia simarumi tunga vehatsia tumi inui pigu marangin malitsia tumi tunga vitsaliut seri torta kisianin nalunersiruna silakro pihurakmin hanu as igumamangata. Hanu ingisia hutuautigo kakalakatausik ilalimatsiangi karoktaweli.
Time has come to let Inuit traditions and values guide child protection. After years of efforts, we are now preparing local family councils to do most of that work.
Tan ilagi hanok to hatigi titaw nga nuito lok simaru ikarok sirero tutsuni ilagi ni.
In this simulation, a facilitator is helping a mother, grandmother, and 2 aunts plan for how they will together care for a baby girl. The removal of a child is now the last resort.
Imailurluta nunavimiurluta kamari hattalangaravut lagutitsatini paknaitugun. Kavamakkut tusalerutik paknaisimarutiktini angirlutik kisianiulangarinal nangita haurimatsiatugun nammini kavamatsalirnimu paknaimata. Tanna kavamatsalirinik akuni paknaitaulangaman.
Haurimanakto Inuit Aula Chivalestama Pisiumilauro Nunavut Nunalakari duntit as in the me Laura Ilukosimi.
Step by step, we're taking back, repairing the damage done.
I'm here today to extend a formal apology on behalf of all Canadians and the Government of Canada for Canada's involvement in the Nunavik dog slaughter of the 1950s and 60s. This caused immense pain and trauma. On behalf of the Government of Canada and all Canadians, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive us.
Ilanung itukta utiyavo kavumakkono angi utiyalo aksku kisiani ananakuka atatakuka attigingi tangani kiugala loktut sakkuis makatisuli inungun nay loktut kaloakpat uvagulli kayusilangalakku ilokkusigigattigo kayusikhayausungungatta.
Tanna kunialo pinasuala watigo angektisikara sutakavamanik uhavat tabulukavamanot tusaya ulaksunirmat pivalego tigilangalaktabut immini aurat sigumanagmik.
To heal, we rebuild our traditions, and every year we honor our longtime companions, our dogs.
Himutsiligatta angoya surrealeana hattatuk takko hangi hattasunialeana hattatuk. Kacanak nipa aliana tularealo piare kittungut suni kalua suni aliana tularealo.
There's no telling from the outside what happens inside this building about Nunavik land, the animals, our food.
Takwa hilalugaw kigutingi killusubu hitingaw killusuwi hatsinuki hong mga tahawi saksuwit. Takwa hilaluwadani ako nialo kayo sisimalang mata. Akaw tamate ko hilaluwak daw sute may loksuwit. Ako nialo. Umayune hawi sak tui ako nialo tamani hawi sa tui nosti hawi sak tamini aulawi tuen suti udirtisi hatta si mangi matatamaw nga inunutu tusakat sa lugitek kwa hawi yavini. Te ma nammini wunni hawi sak pihaluta te ma piunak sa riang hawi si magatta.
Fish and wildlife health, water quality, cartography, the Trace Metal Analytical Lab is famous.
This is something still very special. It was the first lab of this type set up in 1997, 96, 97, and it's still the only one, as far as I know, in the Eastern Canadian Arctic. This is the atomic absorption spectrometer. So it can be used for measuring metals such as mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, selenium. Those 5 are the routine set of metal that we measure in country food that is consumed by the local Inuit populations. The environment in Nunavik is pristine. It's not contaminated in any way. So most of the country food, I would say over 99% of the country food are safe for human consumption. And it's good news.
Kingu watsawu ima hawi sakwe hare halang me mata. Dan nalipina suwa wigillu aliagi simayagay sumaynalo. Ako ni alo pinasafilak sugo. Te meittu mi pinasuakto haromappa. Inustu alay te umayo ni pinasuahati haromalti taan takka pinasufisat siya realo.
Our leaders negotiated the JBNQA, planning for an Inuit government. But we soon discovered its shortcomings. So when Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau decided in 1979 to give Canada a new constitution, we saw an opening.
The constitution is now home.
Lilaksi manang mili Inuit ikikatigilugit. Sulilagatto yok tayo mailing isumanalaksi mayok. Ilaw yok hakto hangito kami spillari yo pinaswakta ulakto utilugo. Isumagiyot ang imaloni ilaw ngito kami Inuitang ngito kami.
Inuit led the fight to include Indigenous rights in the new constitution. Provincial governments fought us tooth and nail.
In our constitution than 2 sovereign governments, the federal and the provincial level of government.
It is a gross injustice which should be corrected and which should be recognized.
It was a bruising 3-year battle. In the end, the existence of the JBNQA persuaded the Prime Minister that Indigenous people had a place, and Section 35 cemented Aboriginal rights in the new constitution.
The Aboriginal people of Canada have the rights to
it was fundamental. For Nunavik, the question arose, does Section 35 override the cede and surrender clause in the JBNQA?
Development of Native community.
But politicians never agreed on how to actually define our new rights. The result is that we always have to prove our case, in court or in our daily work.
Taikwa kawa makuni pigutjigi hatta tabu tukisitsiatillo kwa piqaarea hatta tabu tai manga kinakko mangata sunajiu mangata nani mangata.
Our quest for self-determination has been a stop-and-go marathon. We've signed dozens of amendments to the JBNQA, including the one to protect our shoreline and islands. We've sat through 15 federal and 13 provincial elections, plus 2 Quebec referendums. More often than not, a change of government on either side sent us back to zero.
Tiusimatsunga sivuliksunga ngasitiga so hatnimi akaguni hulitulauyo.
In 1995, we managed to bring Ottawa and Quebec to the same table. A proposal for a Nunavik government was put to a Nunavik referendum in 2011. It was defeated. It was a gut punch. The Quebec government had launched Plan No, a move to grab our resources.
JBNQA 2.
We responded with Plan Nunavik and the Baknasimautik Community Tour. We pay taxes, yet receive inferior services: housing, health, education, youth protection, and more.
ARG, health. Sukattu aluminuit sila simavugo Plan Nunavik mi. Quebec moksugu. Namasangnitu simaji Quebec ko.
It looked like a dead end, but across Canada, Indigenous people were coming out in large numbers, protesting against governments that kept excluding us from power. Finally, there was an opening in Ottawa, a change in the conversation, and in government support. We picked up the dialogue about self-government, land rights, and unity. We discussed big questions about a Nunavik constitution. Who belongs? Is Inuktitut fluency a requirement? Or residing in the north? Then the pandemic slowed us down. We changed leadership. It took 4 years to get back to the table, this time with the government of Quebec.
December 2023 uhautu sialaursimaakku inuutsuta utertisiumavugut nunattinik tilligiausimanerallarittsunga taanna saperutigissuungunnaakku kavamakku sivuraani tillisimavusi lagunnalarigamma aneqqatinnik aanqatigiilauqsimatsaitnatluuniit aqsaanisimassuunguatsi taanna pitsutigitsugu aanqatigiigutiigalustavutta iluani ilagiyaullarittuq nunami utertisigasuarnimik.
In 1977, as the 2-year extension to the JBNQA was about to run out, all eyes were on Aupalu. Surrounded by mining claims, every one of its land selections had been rejected by Quebec. The people were forced to sign. More blackmail.
It's illegal. They may have a malinity.
The cede and surrender clause remains the worst part of the JBNQA. It remains the law, even though legal opinion has long moved on.
The extent that the James Bay Agreement has release, cede, and surrender provisions in it, those are an anachronism. They belong in another century. They have nothing to do with reconciliation. And they are and should be, not just to the Inuit in Quebec, but to governments, they should be seen as offensive.
Today, big changes around the world and in Canada put new pressure on our land and resources. But we are taking back. We protect our language, our well-being, our environment. We are part of a bigger world, but all that happens in Nunavik will be on our terms.
Akirartuin kaluartugut pivalliagumayunik kisiani avatittinik attuinianguuturitstuarutta tamatsuminga akirartupalangavugut inuulta angituinayagunnairatta pinasuarumvattuin tikippatunik.
The Indians and Eskimos should take control over their own land. That's what the elders told those government officials 55 years ago. The JBNQA has allowed us to set out towards that goal. And as we push forward, we discover who we are and what we have to do to continue building our Inuit nation in the north.
Kisiani takkoa atatalo ananalo pitsiana muanga yumik uhautu tigisimayangit hauyimaja husur mejaka inu hatitino kingu batino
Katsungeliget seare haktugut ubagu inutuinnausuta pigumajattini pilangatuarutta Suppiriya hare haktugu imminik pigunnahagut Neriugiat seare hakhugut hope.
Tamanna Nunavut utektirealivun pitsatangit puumatsigun tutumata kavamaugaraktunik.
2025 miilaktugut 1975 tarmi sanakkuti harasuanginnasutta taannali saangagat saularittoriya.
Kallunaan auratsiuratsiagutlugi pinerlurutivini kiguppiangaarti tagunnapata aaqiatsiangaarti tagunnapata uqausuutertilugun nunavuutertilugit sakkusititauniviniu piniarningit aaqqisiartautilugit pilarigasooриарнипааву